Hey everybody, welcome back to Reader's Workshop. Today we are going to start a new unit where we dig a little deeper into the parts of books. So before we get started, let's make sure we're ready to learn. Make sure your eyes are watching, your ears are listening, quiet as a mouse. Your body is still like a pretzel. Okay, so the last time we met, you learned all about the parts of a sentence, and there was 3 major parts, and I'm wondering if you remember all 3 parts. Here's your hint. Oh, my face is blocking a little bit of the hint. There we go. Okay, that's your hint. See if you can come up with them. Okay, so hopefully you remembered that all sentences start with an uppercase letter right here. Hopefully you remember that all sentences end with some type of end mark, mostly a period, sometimes a question mark or an exclamation point, and hopefully you remember that all sentences have spaces between each word. That's going to help you when you're reading as well as when you are writing. Okay. Today, you're going to learn all about characters, and here we have some characters that we've read this year. We have Chrysanthemum, we have the 2 characters from Fred Stays With Me, and then, of course, we have Pigeon. So, I'm going to move my face again. The person, animal, or object that is talking and doing things in a book is called a character. So some books, like the Pigeon books, have mainly just one character, and some books have more than one character. So here you can see the 3 little pigs and the big wet bad wolf. And here is Cinderella and her evil stepsisters and her evil stepmother. And the guy from the castle. Okay, so the person, animal, or object that is doing the talking and doing things in the book is the character. Oh. Here are some of my favorite characters of all time. Here's the Cat in the Hat, which I made my dad read to me a gazillion times when I was little. Here's Piggy and Elephant. I just love them. They're such a nice pair of friends. Lily, of course, and Alexander and his grumpy attitude. He's pretty lovable. And then the little engine that had such a great attitude. Here's some just my favorite of all time. Okay, so characters can be people. See some people over here in the Curious George book and in the How Full Is Your Bucket book. They can be animals, like in the Pout Pout Fish, or George himself is an animal, or they can be things, like Thomas here. He's a train, so he's the thing. So they can be all sorts of people, animals, or things. Characters can talk. So you can see in these speech bubbles up here that these 2 bears are talking to each other. Characters are who the story is about. So you remember when we read Every Friday, we learned about this dad and the son's tradition to always go on Friday to the diner and get pancakes. Okay, that's who the characters are who the story is about. And the characters can change. So maybe you remember Lily in Julius, the Baby of the World, how at first she thought she was going to love her little baby brother. Then she had a long period in which she wanted the baby brother to go away. And then at the end, she changed again, and she got very protective and loving over Julius. So characters can change. And then the last thing about characters is that we can make connections to characters. So sometimes characters remind us of ourselves or something that we've experienced. Sometimes characters remind us of other characters in another book that we've read. And sometimes characters can make us think about the world around us. So we can make connections to characters. And sometimes you'll see Mrs. Underwood and I make this symbol, which is like, yeah, that I feel the same way. Connection. So look at these famous characters. How many of them do you recognize? I actually don't know all of them, but I know a lot of them. I know the Berenstain Bear and Madeline, and there's Lily again, George. I think her name is Lily too. Anyway, you get the point. Once you have a lovable character, they stick with you forever and ever and ever. Here's some more. You can see they're very famous. Oh, look, remember this fish? We read that fish. We read about the rainbow fish. Okay, so now it is time for you to practice independent reading. When you read, make sure you always identify who the characters are in the book. So whether you're reading at school or home, you're going to get your book box and you're going to try reading quietly for at least 10 minutes. We are moving on up in the world. 10 minutes. I think you can do it. Remember to show reader respect to the people around you. You're going to stay quiet. You're going to stay in one spot. And you're going to get started right away and use all the time that we give you to read, 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 read. Oh my, here's some more. Very famous characters. Some of these are from books, some of these are from TV or movies. You can identify the characters just like Mrs. Underwood and I do. Remember, characters can be people, animals, or things. Characters can talk. Characters are who the story is about. Characters can change. And last, we make connections to characters. Have a great time reading, guys. Bye.